In your headlines tonight, ready to lead. The President lets on his readiness to form an SLFP-led government if all MPs of the UPFA pledge support. As you wish, the Prime Minister to convene Parliament on the 8th to debate the Bond Inquiry report. The former President, however, dares it to be held on the 7th. Almost over with land reclamation for the port city at 60% completion. Minister Partli Champika calls investors to focus on green building projects.
I believe that investors need to see the advantages of financing green building.
In sports, a return to winning ways, Sri Lanka dismantled Bangladesh to win the Tri-Series finale. In news overseas, Taliban bloodshed, 40 people killed in a suicide bombing in Afghan capital Kabul. Good evening. With news and developments from across Sri Lanka and around the world on Other Derana 24/7, I'm Indivari Amuatha. We begin with news from political party rallies ahead of the local authorities election in February. President Maithripala Sirisena expressed confidence that he is ready to establish a Sri Lanka Freedom Party-led government even tomorrow if all UPFA parliamentarians extend their support to him. He said this addressing a SLFP public rally in Ratnapura today. Touching on combating corruption and fraud, the President assured that a presidential commission to probe corruption and fraud in Sri Lankan Airlines and Mihin Lanka will be gazetted next week.
Sri Lanka Freedom Party organised a rally in Ratnapura this evening in line with the upcoming local authorities election. Many politicians representing the party participated in the rally, presided over by SLFP Chairman President Maithripala Sirisena.
Following the 2015 general election, we convened a meeting with parliamentarians who left the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. During this, some who did not like to join the government requested to sit with the opposition. I agreed to that and asked whoever wanted to join us to sit in the governing party. I had no objection but asked to work as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Do you know what happened afterwards? Without even the knowledge of my friend Mahinda Rajapaksa, a new party was formed. They say they will join us if a government of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party is established. I would like to tell them that if all 96 UPFA parliamentarians who won the 2015 general election stand with me tomorrow, I am ready to establish a Sri Lanka Freedom Party-led government. Leave that new party of GL Pires and join us. It is only a heap of garbage. It is the blood of Sri Lanka Freedom Party that runs in my veins. I am inherently against corruption, fraud, wastage, nepotism and dictatorship. The members of the SLFP pointed their fingers at me and asked why I did this to the party. My friends in the Ratnapura even pelted stones at me. Friends, in politics, there are no permanent friends or foes. Therefore, we can divide any time and get together whenever we want.
Addressing the rally, the President added that a presidential commission to probe corruption and fraud in state-owned Sri Lanka Airlines and Mihin Lanka will be gazetted next week.
The true situation of everyone will be revealed then. I will work according to the recommendations of the Commission reports and will give the utmost punishment and will recover the money that was lost to the state. There is no point in filling up prisons to develop a country. We should build a nation where there aren't people who commit offences to fill up prisons. The other option is to manage institutions by way of imposing laws and obstructing avenues for corruption. That is why I say that the 10th of February is not the day when this struggle ends, but the day that Sri Lanka Freedom Party will win over the entire country to begin our work. The symbol of the hand and the betel leaf will achieve a nationwide victory.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says Parliament will be convened on the 8th of February to take up for debate the reports compiled by the two presidential commissions appointed to inquire into the controversial Treasury bond issuances and into serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuse of power. The Premier revealed this speaking at a UNP rally in Deniaya this morning.
The United National Party organised a rally in Derana today ahead of the February 10th local authorities election. The rally was presided over by leader of the UNP, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
We don't have deals with anyone. We only have one deal, and that is with the public. I can assure you that. If Mahinda is so fond of the Flowerbud Party, why isn't he accepting its leadership? The leader of the party is GL Pires, a man who cannot even brave the winds. The truth is that Mahinda is not accepting the Flowerbud because he has no interest in doing so. There is a frequent exchange of views regarding debates of the Bond Inquiry report and the report of the Serious Acts of Fraud Commission. So I thought of talking about it. It is I who could convene Parliament, not the Speaker. The Speaker handed over a letter yesterday asking to consider a written request by parliamentarian Anurukumara Dissanayake to hold the debate. When I met with the Speaker last evening, I told him that I will issue a letter on Monday asking to convene Parliament on the 8th of February. There is nothing for us to hide here. I do not lie to obtain power. I have never done that and will never do so. Hence, I assure that Parliament will be convened so they could debate on the matter as long as they wish. They can keep debating until the 19th. I have no objection. There is another proposal I wish to mention here. That is a suggestion to annul the civic rights of Mahinda Rajapaksa not just for 7 years, but for a lifetime.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa challenges the government to take up the debate regarding reports of presidential commissions probing the controversial Treasury bond issuances and the serious acts of fraud, corruption and abuse of power on the 7th of February. He made the challenge at a rally in Munaragala today in response to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's statement on convening Parliament to debate on the matters on the 8th of the month.
SLPP organised a rally in Munaragala today in line with the local authorities election. The rally was presided over by the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
President Maithripala is requesting the Premier not to weaken him but to strengthen him. Isn't he the executive president of the country? What did he do for 3.5 years? President Maithripala Sirisena, wield your sword. The government is taking its last breath. The result of this election will lead to the death of the government. The president is so aggressive these days. He will be more angry when he sees this crowd. I read in a newspaper that the annulment of my civil rights has been recommended. I have no idea as to what kind of a recommendation that is. Even if my civil rights are annulled, I will not leave my people. The Prime Minister has stated that the debate on the Bond Inquiry report and serious acts of fraud will take place on the 8th of February. Why has it been scheduled on the 8th? It is because the election propaganda campaigns will end on the 7th. After starting the debate on the 8th, you will not know any information at least until the 10th. This is an attempt to hide the truth from the public. Why on the 8th? Take it up on the 7th. We have run out of patience.
Leader of the Janata Vimukthi Peramuna parliamentarian Anurukumara Dissanayake alleges that major political parties and its leaders colluded in some of the largest cases of fraud and corruption committed within the past decade. He said this addressing a JVP public rally in Avissavella yesterday.
Another public rally of the Janata Vimukthi Peramuna aiming the upcoming local authorities election was held in Avissavella under the patronage of party leader parliamentarian Anurukumara Dissanayake.
The President made a long speech about Mahinda Rajapaksa not voting for the no-confidence motion against Ravi Karunanayake. He even said that Mahinda Rajapaksa telephoned Ravi to wish him well when Karunanayake came out of the chamber. What does that mean? This means Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe maintain a close relationship. In the meantime, SP Disanayaka, Nimal Siripal de Silva, Dilan Pereira and other members of Maithripala Sirisena's team voted in favour of Ravi Karunanayaka. That means all three parties are united. All of these politicians steal the wealth of the people. The focal point of this election has become fraud and malpractice because people have come to terms with the fact that politicians steal. It's even more important that the rulers themselves have accepted that they stole. Early it was just us who highlighted these issues, and people thought they might actually not be stealing. But now even the people know for sure that they steal.
And varying opinion continue to be expressed in the political arena ahead of the local authorities election. We take a look.
Don't try to cover up this bond scam. Those who attempt to do so will be the first to go to hell. At public rallies, the President talks about the report of the Bond Commission and requests our Prime Minister for permission to take action against wrongdoers. Those who committed fraud should not only be put in jail, but they should also be sent to hell. When about 5,000 pages of the Bond Inquiry report, which was tabled in Parliament, are missing, the President asks us to hold a debate on the report. The debate was scheduled for the 20th and the 21st because everyone agreed during the party leaders' meeting. Mahinda Samarasinghe, representing the SLFP, was present at the meeting and everyone agreed. When Mahinda Samarasinghe and Lakshman Kirela asked to hold the discussion after the 10th, the only parliamentarians who urged to hold it prior to the 10th were joint oppositions Dinesh Gunawardena and JVP Sandra Kumara. As the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we maintain the same stance as the President. He made a statement recently that debate on those two reports should be called before the 10th of February. One thing is clear now. President Maithripala Sirisena is doing everything in his power to cover up the bond scam. If this debate is held, fraud committed by both parties will be brought to light. That is why they publicly voice against taking the debate before elections.
Sri Lanka Customs says that an organised racket is being carried out by a group of Sri Lankans residing in the country as well as abroad. Speaking to First at 9 spokesperson of Customs, Sunil Jayaratne cautioned the public that the racketeers mislead victims under the pretense of a phony prize that can be availed at the Sri Lanka Customs.
The Customs said that one of the racketeers is identified as John Harry, a passport holder of United Kingdom. They added that several individuals have already been duped via social media and other online platforms.
Organized racket is carried out by some international groups with the support of some egoistic locals. In the first instance, the organizers, they inform to the targeted person over the phone or connecting to the social networks like Facebook that the person concerned have won some cash prizes, some valuable prizes as a result of an online draw. The second step is worse, that they request the person concerned to deposit some money saying that the parcel has been retained by Sri Lanka Customs and therefore they have to pay some money in order to settle the customs duty and other charges. I am receiving so many calls daily. Thousands of innocent people have victimized and paid some lakhs of money in this regard. Though the customs has retained some parcels for customs examination purposes, we have not appointed anyone to collect money on behalf of the customs.
4 people were reported dead in a motor accident involving a car and a bus on the Vellavaya Thanamalvila main road today. The mishap left 3 others with serious injuries.
A speeding car rammed into a bus commuting on the opposite direction at Telulla on the Thanamalvila Vellavaya main road this morning. The driver of the car and 3 passengers died at the scene of the incident, while 2 other passengers of the car and 2 passengers of the bus sustained serious injuries. The driver of the bus was arrested in connection with the incident and he is to be produced before the Vellavaya magistrates tomorrow. A dead body of a person was found in a temple in Heyantuduwa in Sapugaskanda. The chief prelate of the temple said that 3 people were seen in the temple and when he had arrived there, 2 fled the scene while 1 was found lying dead. According to the National Dengue Prevention Unit, 4,924 dengue cases have been identified island-wide so far this year. The highest number of cases were reported from Colombo district, numbering 805, while Kalutara district reported 500 dengue cases, the second highest.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
In your business news tonight, Minister of Megapolis and Western Development Partly Champika Ranawaka says that over 60% of land reclamation work on the Colombo International Financial City, formerly referred to as the Port City, is now complete. He added that the project will continue with a focus on green building and infrastructure development. He also called investors to focus on financing such green developments. He was speaking at the media briefing to announce the Construction Expo 2018 exhibition in Colombo recently.
Construction Expo 2018, which is also Sri Lanka's largest construction-related exhibition, is set to be held at the BMICH from the 29th of June to the 1st of July. The theme of this year's exhibition will be Towards a Green Sri Lanka.
Environmentally friendly building. It is a time to take the next leap. The only way that green building and infrastructure project will become the norm is if it is adopted by the construction industry as the way to build.
He went on to say that Sri Lanka will launch light railway projects across 7 key corridors in Colombo.
We will launch, and the first one from Kaduela to Peta multimodal hub. The physical works will be commenced this year, and the solid waste management project in Aruakaru, it has been already commenced, and will establish a multimodal transport hub in Central Business District by following all green norms.
The Board of Investment says Sri Lanka achieved the highest foreign direct investment in 2017 when FDI into the country grew over $1.6 trillion, doubling from the $802 million achieved the previous year. According to the BOI, among the highest growth sectors were export-oriented manufacturing and services, which include tourism and IT as well as infrastructure. They added that the highest FDI came from China, followed by Hong Kong, India and Singapore. Founder of Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba, Jack Ma, says globalization should be improved instead of being stopped. Speaking on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum recently, he added that the developing countries have been neglected in the process. More than 70 heads of state and decision makers, including billionaires, have come forward to address today's critical global challenges as this year's summit held in Davos, Switzerland. The summit concluded yesterday.
I think globalization did a fantastic job in the past 30 years, enriched a lot of countries, but of course caused a lot of problems. Young people did not have opportunities, small business have not opportunities, developing countries were neglected. But it's only 30 years. It's a baby. It's a growth. You have to improve it. If you do not improve it, then you kill it. It's easy. Most of the time, to kill something is much easy. So my belief is it's our generation's job.
Meanwhile, speaking on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum 2018, former Prime Minister of United Kingdom Tony Blair said Brexit will weaken Britain's influence in Europe as well as the whole world.
Britain will lose influence in Europe, obviously, and I think in the world as a result. But Europe will be weaker too. You know, my own view remains that it's sensible for Britain to be part of Europe, to be a strong sovereign nation within Europe.
Nobel Prize-winning economist Joseph Stiglitz said yesterday US President Donald Trump's claim that the American economy has never been stronger is absolutely wrong.
He claimed that there were more job creation. Well, in fact, in the last couple years of the Obama administration, there were much more job creation than during Trump. Trump is actually 20% below Obama. I know he would hate that, but those are the facts.
Still in international business news, China has announced plans to develop shipping lanes through the Arctic to become a polar silk route. Beijing said global warming meant viable shipping routes through the Arctic would become increasingly important for international trade. It said China would work with Russia and other Arctic countries to develop the polar route. It is part of an ambitious, bigger scheme to transform China's land and sea connections to Europe and beyond. Chinese President Xi Jinping $1 trillion Belt and Road Initiative seeks to rebuild such or much of Euro-Asia's infrastructure of ports, roads and rails and put China at its center. In news overseas, a suicide bombing killed at least 40 people and injured 140 others in the center of Afghanistan's capital today when an ambulance blew up at a police checkpoint in Kabul near foreign embassies and government buildings. The Taliban claimed responsibility for today's blast a week after it claimed an attack on a hotel in Kabul in which more than 20 people were killed.
Attackers drove an ambulance laden with explosives past a police checkpoint in an area of Afghanistan's capital Kabul into a street that was closed to public transport. The bomb was detonated near the old Interior Ministry building and officers of the European Union and High Peace Council. The Taliban have said they carried out the attack. Witnesses say the area, home to foreign embassies and the city's police headquarters, was crowded with people when the bomb exploded today at about 12:15 local time. Officials said the death toll would probably continue to rise as casualties were brought to hospitals for medical attention.
And here's a look at other stories making news from across the world.
The United States has told Turkey it will not provide any more weapons to the Syrian Kurdish YPG militia as Turkey's offensive against the US-backed YPG in Syria entered its 8th day. Rescuers are searching for a ferry with an estimated 50 people on board after it went missing in the Kiribati Islands. The MV Buterio departed from Nonute Island on the 18th of January on a voyage that was expected to last 2 days. Riverside homes and businesses in Paris are on high alert today as swollen river Seine threatens to overflow its banks. The water level in the river is expected to peak at around 6 meters, which is at least 4 meters above its normal level. Brazil's Ministry of Health says over 50 lives were claimed due to yellow fever widespread in the country. The World Health Organization has initiated measures to vaccinate more than 20 million people in Brazil to control a budding outbreak. Flu is sweeping the United States, killing at least 37 children, while only Hawaii was spared for a third straight week. This year, the most common strain of influenza is H3N2. It is reported to be the worst pandemic since the 2009 swine flu. The Philippines is bracing for a possible 3-month-long emergency in areas around an erupting volcano, which has already displaced more than 81,000 and led to overcrowded temporary shelters. Mount Mayon in central Albay province remained at alert level 4, a notch below the highest level. Dubai has broken the world record by making the largest cup of tea recently. A total of 120 chefs participated in the challenge. The teacup has height of 3.66 meters, a top inner diameter of 1.42 meters and is capable of holding a volume of 5,000 liters.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
We start off with cricket. Sri Lanka pulled off a sensational 79-run victory against hosts Bangladesh in the final of the Tri-Nation Series to hand new coach Chandika Hathurusinghe his maiden series win as Sri Lanka's head coach. Sri Lanka suffered a loss at the hands of Zimbabwe during the preliminary rounds of the tournament, casting doubt over Sri Lanka's prospects in the series.
Sri Lanka came into the Tri-Nation Series with Bangladesh and Zimbabwe on the back of heavy losses in both white ball formats. Ahead of the series, Sri Lanka's new head coach Chandika Hathurusinghe, who previously coached Bangladesh, dismissed any suggestion of added pressure.
What color is pressure? Have you seen? No, there's no pressure.
Following a rocky start to the series with a loss to Zimbabwe, the Sri Lankan team picked up pace and made it to the final against the hosts. Sri Lankan captain Dinesh Chandimal won the toss and opted to bat first in today's final. The batsman, however, found it tough going on a tricky pitch. Opener Danushka Gunatilaka was the first to fall for mere 6 runs. In came Kusal Mendis, who helped himself to consecutive boundaries off spinner Hahidi Hassan Miraz. His over, however, brought about his downfall and was caught playing one shot too many for a 9-ball 28. All other batsmen found it difficult to score runs, with Upul Taranga's knock of 56 coming in 99 deliveries. Niroshan Dikwala had a few close calls and was even hit in the chest attempting a scoop, with the batsman looked to be spitting blood.
Not on that occasion. Not on that occasion.
But he valiantly carried on but fell for 42. Captain Dinesh Chandimal also played a handy knock of 45 as Sri Lanka finished the 50 overs on 221 all out. All-star of Bangladesh innings, Sri Lankan bowlers hit top form and soon had them reeling on 22 for 3, with Dushmantha Chameera removing dangerous Tamim Iqbal and Sabir Rahman for single figures. Sandwiched in between was a brilliant direct from Thisara Pereira to send Mohammad Mithun back to the pavilion. Akila Dhananjay removed Mushfiqur Rahim and Mirza to leave the hosts on 90 for 5. Mahamadullah tried his level best to stabilise the innings by holding one end. But it was going to be the day of Sri Lanka as paceman Shehan Madhushankar grabbed a hat-trick on debut. He first removed Mashrafi Murtaza in the 5th delivery of his 6th over and then bowled Rubel Hussain. Afterwards, he removed Mahamadullah in the first ball of his next over to claim the hat-trick and hand Bangladesh a 79-run defeat.
A cause that wasn't 10 days ago, but suddenly they've clicked, and under the new coach, Chandika Hathura Singh, they've managed to win the...
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Staying on with cricket, players went under the hammer for the 11th edition of the Indian Premier League today in a 2-day auction in Bengaluru, with the first ball scheduled to be bowled on the 7th of April. Englishman Ben Stokes fetched $2.4 million, marking him the top bid so far. The auction, however, was not favourable for two of the greatest players in the history of IPL, Lasith Malinga and Chris Gayle, as they went unsold.
This year's auction featured 578 players, with 361 of them being Indians. All-rounder Ben Stokes becomes the cricketer with the highest bid against his name for the second consecutive season, as he was bought by Rajasthan Royals for $2.4 million.
Sold at 1,250.
Australian Chris Lynn's big hitting earned him a mammoth $1.86 million deal in the Indian Premier League auction, despite him missing the most of the Big Bash League with a shoulder injury. Mitchell Starc was also among the big names to be sold, with the Aussie paceman fetching $1.82 million. Indian players KL Rahul and Manish Pandey were sold for a combined sum of $2.1 million. The highest wicket taker and the highest ever run scorer of IPL, Malinga and Gayle respectively, remained unsold on day one of the auction.
And in tennis, Caroline Wozniacki won her maiden Grand Slam, repelling a daunting challenge from Simona Halep on her way to the Australian Open title at Melbourne Park this evening.
After a captivating tussle at the Rod Laver Arena, Wozniacki stood firm in a seesaw final, claiming the Australian Open 7-6, 3-6, 6-4. The result ensured Wozniacki swiped Halep's world #1 ranking 6 years after losing it at the 2012 Australian Open.
I've dreamt of this moment for so many years, and to be here today, it's a dream come true, and my voice is shaking. I never cry, but today it's a very emotional moment. I also want to congratulate Simona. I know that today is a tough day. I'm sorry that I had to win today, but I'm sure we'll have many matches in the future, and it was an incredible match, incredible fight, and yeah, again, I'm sorry.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow are to vary between 19 and 29 degrees Celsius, with the lowest temperatures yet again expected in the Central Hills. Looking at the map, we can expect clear skies over most parts of the island. Well, the sun will shine bright upon many areas including Jaffna, Mannar and Anuradhapura. But however, it will be an opposite scenario in Galle, Matara, Hambantota and Batticaloa, as they can expect some wet weather. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your City by City forecast.
And that's all from the other Derana 24/7 News Centre. But before you go, we'd like to take you to Vatnajökull, also called the Crystal Caves, found inside Icelandic glaciers. They are one of the nature's most fascinating wonders and are formed within the ice of surrounding glaciers. They shine in white, blue and green hues, leaving a breathtaking sight to behold. Enjoy these visuals. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.